Breaking.com. Lesson 1. Introducing yourself. Present tense. Questions and answers. Jane is a Yank. Is Jane British or American?
American. Jane is a Yank. She is American.
American. Jane is a Yank. She's an American. Is she an Australian?
No, she is not Australian. Jane is Yank. She is American.
No, she isn't an Australian. Jane is a Yank. She is an American. Who is a Yank?
Jane. Jane is Yank. She is American.
Jane. Jane is a Yank. She is an American. Jane is sitting in the restaurant alone. Is Jane sitting with a friend?
No, she isn't. Jane is sitting in the
No,
restaurant
she
alone.
isn't. Jane is sitting in a restaurant alone. Who is Jane sitting with?
She is sitting with no one.
She's
Jane
sitting with
is
no
sitting
one.
in the
Jane
restaurant
is
alone.
sitting in the restaurant alone. Is Jane sitting in a hotel?
No, she is sitting in the restaurant alone.
No, Jane is sitting in the restaurant. Jane has just arrived in Vietnam. Has Jane lived in Vietnam for 6 months?
No, she hasn't lived Vietnam for 6 months.
No,
She has just arrived
Jane
in
hasn't lived in
Vietnam.
Vietnam for 6 months. She has just arrived in Vietnam. Where has she just arrived?
Vietnam. She has just arrived in Vietnam.
Vietnam. She has just arrived in Vietnam. Has she just left Vietnam?
No, she hasn't left Vietnam. She has just
No,
arrived
she
in
hasn't left
Vietnam.
Vietnam. She has just arrived in Vietnam. She walks to a restaurant. Who walks to a restaurant?
Jane. Jane walked to a restaurant. Jane walked to a restaurant.
Jane. Jane walks to a restaurant. Where does she walk to?
In restaurant. Jane walked to a restaurant.
A restaurant. Jane walks to a restaurant. Does she walk to a cinema?
No, she doesn't walk to cinema.
No,
Jane walked
she
to a
doesn't walk to a
restaurant.
cinema. Jane walks to a restaurant. Does Jane walk to a restaurant?
Yes, Jane walked to a restaurant.
Yes, Jane walks to a restaurant. She walks to a restaurant. Does Jane take a taxi to a museum?
No, she doesn't take a taxi to museum. Jane walked to a
No,
restaurant.
Jane doesn't take a taxi to a museum. She walks to a restaurant. She knows no one in Vietnam and is sitting by herself. Does Jane have many friends in Vietnam?
No,
No, Jane doesn't have many
Jane doesn't
friends
have
in
many
Vietnam.
friends
She
in
knows no
Vietnam.
one.
She knows no one in
Vietnam.
Vietnam.
How many people does Jane know in Vietnam?
No, she knows no one in Vietnam. In Vietnam.
None. She knows no one in Vietnam. Why is Jane sitting alone?
Because she knows no one in Vietnam.
Because she knows no one in Vietnam. Jane is sitting alone because she knows no one in Vietnam. Jane is feeling a little lonely because she knows no one and has no friends in Vietnam. Why is Jane feeling lonely?
Because she knows no one and has no friends in Vietnam.
Jane
is feeling lonely because she knows no one and has no friends in Vietnam.
Is Jane feeling lonely because she has no job?
No, Jane isn't feeling lonely because she has no job. Jane is feeling lonely because she has no one and has no friends in Vietnam.
Jane is feeling lonely because she knows no one and has no friends in Vietnam. Does Jane have any friends in Vietnam?
No, she hasn't any friend in Vietnam.
No, she doesn't have any friends in Vietnam. She knows no
one and has no friends in Vietnam.
Quan walks in, orders his food, and sits at the table next to Jane's. Does Quan sit outside the restaurant at a table?
No, he sits at the table next to Jane. He sits at the table next to Jane.
He sits at the table next to Jane's. Does Quan walk out of the restaurant?
No, she doesn't walk out to restaurant.
No, he doesn't
Quan
walk out of the
in
restaurant.
on his phone and sits at the table
orders
next
his
to
food,
Jane.
and sits at the table next to Jane's. Where does Quan sit in the restaurant?
At the table next to Jane.
At the table next to Jane. He sits at the
He sits
table
at the
next
table
to
next to
Jane's
Jane
and begins a conversation with Jane.
He begins a conversation with Jane.
He begins a conversation with Jane. Who begins a conversation with Jane?
Quan began a conversation with Jane.
Quan starts a conversation with Jane. Quan begins to talk to her. Does he finish a conversation with Jane?
No, Quan began to talk to her. Quan began a conversation with Jane.
No, Quan doesn't finish his conversation with Jane. He begins to
Quan
talk
to her.
What does Quan begin with Jane?
A conversation. Quan began a conversation with Jane. Quan should talk to her.
A conversation.
Quan should talk to her.
He starts a conversation with her. Quan asks Jane questions to get to know her better. Does Quan ask Jane questions to hire her for a job?
No, Quan doesn't ask Jane questions to hire her for a job. Quan asks Jane questions to get to know her better.
Quan doesn't ask Jane questions to hire her for a job. Quan asks Jane questions to get to know her better. Does Quan tell Jane a story to amuse Jane?
No, Quan doesn't tell Jane a story to amuse Jane.
No, Quan doesn't tell Jane a story
Quan
to
asks Jane
amuse
questions
Jane.
to get to know her
Quan
better.
asks Jane questions to get to know her better. Jane tells Quan her story and why she is in Vietnam. Does Jane refuse to talk to Quan?
No, Jane doesn't refuse to talk to Quan. Jane tells Quan her story and why she is in Vietnam. She is in Vietnam.
Jane tells Quan her story and why she is in Vietnam. What does Jane tell Quan?
Her story and why she is in Vietnam.
Her story and why she is in Vietnam. Jane tells Quan her story and why she is in Vietnam. Does Jane sing songs to Quan?
No, Jane doesn't sing songs to Quan.
No,
Jane tells Quan
Jane
her
doesn't
story
sing songs to
and why
Quan.
she is
Jane
in
tells Quan
Vietnam.
her story
She is
and
in Vietnam.
why she is in Vietnam. She tells Quan her story
She
and
tells
why
Quan
she
her
is in
story and
Vietnam.
why she is in Vietnam.